Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Heroes of the Storm line with Arthas Menethil, the Lich King, once again from the World of Warcraft series. This, of course, is brought to us by the fine folks over at NECA Toys, and a gentleman over on Instagram whose name escapes me, so if they happen to watch this video, let yourself be known to the Overlord Productions audience, good sir, because he gave me a really good deal on this guy, and I couldn't be happier with it. Is it a perfect figure? Absolutely freaking not, but if I got him when he came out, it would have been a figure of the year tops. There is no denying that. So, without further ado, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look, see at all he has to offer in terms of accessories, because there's only one. It's the only one that matters. It's freaking Frostmourne. This sword is freaking badass, dude. Like, it is a ram skull sword that's like an ice blade, and in Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, he uses it as his guitar. Now, unfortunately, this figure is not posable enough for that, but he plays it kind of like this. And much like the Stitch's weapons, you can pop the end off and pop it back in to get it into his hand. I'll spare you the trouble from watching me struggle with that, because we need to take a look at this figure. Now, I will tell you, this guy and Thrall, who we will be looking at tomorrow, were a little oily when I took him out of the cabinet, so much so this guy's foot left like a sticky spot on my shelf that I had to wipe down. Not cool, but I cleaned him up as best as I could so he wouldn't make a mess of my review set. And thankfully, he's not doing that right now. But as far as articulation goes, you're not going to get as much as Illidan, but you do get quite a bit of range in the head. He can look up and down. He can tilt a little bit. I did have to use a hairdryer on his crown, straighten it out a little bit. You can, of course, get some rotation. I think I said you could tilt. Look at that head skull. Never knew he had a face. I thought it was just always like blacked out with blue eyes, because that's what he looks like most of the time, but it's nice to see like that skull, kind of zombie face sculpt in there. But as far as the shoulders go, you can pop them up about this high. Those big bulky chainmail arms. You can, of course, rotate. Single jointed elbow. You get like 2 pops out of that, and that's all you get. You do get some rotation down there though, so that's nice, in lieu of not having a bicep cut. And then you do get some ball jointed wrists, which this hand not so much because it's open. This hand you get a little bit more out of that. Diaphragm joint is not the tightest thing ever, but it does rotate, and it does actually crunch forward a little bit. It does pop back up, and then it does stay in place for the most part, so you get a little bit out of that. You also get a waist twist. It kind of feels like a ball joint. I can't tell exactly. Could just be loose, but it's not the best articulation scheme ever, but it does work for the most part. Moving his arm back, his hips can kick out. I guess that's it. Like that far. And he does have the NECA hips that are kind of stuck together because of the way they're constructed. That never bothered me. I just move one leg. Like, I don't know. It never bothered me that they did this. Like, I don't think that's that big a deal. It'd be worse if they didn't move at all. Thigh cut. He's got that. He's got a single jointed knee. Pretty much like the elbow, gets 2 positions. He's got a knee swivel and a ball joint in the foot, which actually gets decent range. You can move it back a little bit, forward a little bit, tilt side to side, and you can get all this oily, sticky nonsense on your hands. I'm guessing that's like either lube for the joints or the paint. I don't know. None of the paint's come off, but it's not great, but it's not really bothered me. It's not nearly as bad as like old 90s figures when those get all tacky and sticky and gross. This is not that bad. It's kind of hard to get off your hands. I will say his little dick towel here and his cape do kind of remind me of t-shirts, so decent cloth material there. And the pauldrons do get out of the way, so you can move his arms. He's got that cool skull on that side, and then he's got the big, frickin' chunky arse spikes on the other. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is a cool figure. No pun intended, because he is, like, the king of ice or whatever. He's also in that commercial with Ozzy Osbourne. He's the one that says, there can be only one Prince of Darkness. And then Ozzy's all, Sharon! So, you know, on one hand, I love him. On one hand, he makes me sad, because he reminds me of the late, great Prince of Darkness. Once again, you know, first it was the Street Sharks with Paranoid or Paranoid, whatever, and now it's this guy because he was in an ad with the man, but, you know, it sucks! Yeah, there's no getting over that. At least not right away. So, with that being said, I think it is now time that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Arthas Menethil alongside a couple other figures from the NECA Toys Heroes of the Storm line. We have Illidan, who we looked at yesterday, and Thrall, who we will be looking at tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And as far as scaling goes, I think this is good. I'm not 100% when it comes to the knowledge of World of Warcraft, but I'm guessing that the scaling amidst these three fellas here is fine. If not, let me know otherwise in the comments below, but, you know, it works for me, so that's all that matters. Getting them out of the way, though. This Thrall is a freaking brick, dude. Let's bring in our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's brother Menethil, and the infamous Element Spawn, who is probably about neck and neck with... Oh, actually, he's quite a bit taller than good old Arthas there. I guess this is before NECA switched to 7-inch. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, while it may not be the most dynamic figure in the world, at least when it comes to posing, sculpt and paint's a whole different story. This is, in my opinion, the best figure we have of good old Arthas Menethil, aka the Lich King, at this current time. And while I'm not 100% sure of what he goes for nowadays, because this is almost a 10-year-old figure, if not a 10-year-old figure at this point, I would say if you want a figure of this character that's got some articulation, at least enough to get by, and looks really good, I would say do your due diligence and try to track this guy down. I don't think we're going to get a better one than this for a while. I'm sure that some third party that doesn't have to pay a licensing fee and whatever will make a really awesome Arthas Menethil at some point. But it's also going to cost you. This one, maybe not so much. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.